Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Muhammad Syahmi bin Muhammad Noor from HM 2413B. So I'll start my speech. New generation average Malaysian might not afford to own their dream house in the future. You might be wondering on why the house prices in Malaysia is really high and obviously unaffordable. Even nearby your house, on the electric poles, you can see banners and buntings of houses to let go to future buyers. You might see advertisements on websites or even when you are cruising on the highway, you might see billboards which shows the price of houses and you think that how can I afford this piece of possession? Property experts advise new buyers and investors to not purchase property of their wants but property or house that they can afford based on their financial ability. This is due to the fact that property prices are expected to not to go down anytime soon. Property prices have been growing at a much faster rate compared to the growth in wages or household income. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, the ratio of house price to household annual income increased to 4.8 times in 2016 from 3.9 times in 2012. Average income Malaysians do not have other choice but have to be satisfied by renting a house for their shelter because of their low purchasing power caused by a subdued economy. Everyone that is new to property or might be interested to buy their first house should know the real reason and factors as to why the housing prices in Malaysia is deemed as unaffordable. So now let's move on to the factors behind the high prices of property in Malaysia. The factors are the main cause on what is currently a hot topic, which is the slow growth of income. Many people are facing hardships on their financial side, which can be seen by the rising amount of people going through poverty. According to the data on the average monthly salary of employees in Malaysia from 2010 to 2020, there is only small percentage of increment on a yearly basis. As we can see from the statistics from 2019 to 2020, there is a decrease in that percentage from 3.22 to 2.93. The slow rise in household income over the years is partially caused by slower foreign and domestic economic growth as a whole. The average salary in Malaysia is 79,000 ringgit annually. Meanwhile, the average price of houses in cities in Malaysia is around 300,000 to 800,000 ringgit, which makes the buying of property and house especially becomes really hard and a burden to pay off. In simple terms, the prices of Malaysian houses has grown far more than the income of the average Malaysian. Moving on to the next factor, which not many people know about, which is the rising cost of building homes caused by the decreasing percentage of the gross domestic capita on a yearly basis. The cost to develop a property has risen over the years contributed by many factors, such as high cost of compliance with various regulations including title application and conversion charges, planning requirements, and capital contributions, which is payments to the utility providers. According to the Real Estate and Housing Developers Association, if the cost of construction continues to rise and builders can no longer absorb the increased cost, it will likely be passed to the buyers. According to the graph shown from 2015 to 2020, the big difference between the annual growth rate for housing price index and gross domestic product per capita shown that the buyer will be bearing quite a burden to purchase a house of their needs. In early 2018, because of the US and China trade tension, which followed by the pandemic COVID-19, it has badly affected the economy, which causes slow demand for houses and leads to moderate house price growth between 2018 and 2020. To summarize, the main factors of rising house prices is because of the slow growth of income, which can be seen now when many people are going through poverty and the prices of Malaysian house has grown far more than the income of average Malaysian. Next is the rising cost of building homes. Construction company can Construction company has to comply with various regulations that includes many costs. If the builders can no longer bear the increased loss, the cost unfortunately will be passed down to the buyers. So, for new generation that is currently looking for a place to live, how will you afford your dream home if the house prices in Malaysia will only gradually continue to go up? That will be all from me. Thank you. For the references, I have used from 6 sources, as you can see from the list.